everything is done based on thresholds, but the body is not this digital system where at 100 suddenly it's all crazy and at 99 it's fine. It's an analog system that gets worse as those numbers go up. And I remember when I was diagnosed with heart disease 10 years back, I looked afterwards, in hindsight, I looked at my numbers and my cholesterol kept going up, but it never hit the 200 threshold. And had it hit the threshold, I'm sure my healthcare system
Mhm.
would have intervened, because there is
Mhm.
some rule at the back end that says if more than 200, then do this. But when it went from 130 to 150 to 160 to 180 to 190, no alarms were raised. But I was already at the 98th percentile of calcification of my arteries for my age. And so that's very, very important for everyone to know that things don't happen in our body when we hit a certain threshold. They happen if the
Mhm.
markers keep moving in the wrong direction well before they hit the threshold. So I think that's an important point. And the other thing I would like you to talk about, Lauren, is the way these thresholds are set. That also isn't based on some super scientific thing. It's based on how the general population is doing, which is not a great way to set these thresholds, but that's what's done, right? So maybe a little bit about how thresholds are set.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think this is actually a problem across healthcare, not just within these blood sugar markers, but there are a lot of markers that are set based on um, what is normal for a population, and that normal is based on sampling um, people across the population and finding like what the 50th percentile is, et cetera. And I think that the question we need to be asking ourselves is, do we like the overall health of the population? You know, for example, for Americans, when you look at Americans as a whole, we're very unhealthy. And so the question for me is, do I really want to be at the 50th percentile of that overall group, right? Or should we be thinking more physiologically? And luckily, I think this is where many of the functional health and also kind of like metabolic health, frontier medicine physicians have moved, which is forget what is typical in a population. Let's focus on what is optimal for the body. When we look at studies of people who, for example, have very low heart disease burden, what do their metrics look like, right? Like finding other ways to find these. And that's where you get these discrepancies now in what the kind of like what the guidelines should be